have to be here. It's very good to see all of you again, new friends, old friends, and many thanks to Beyond Earth for inviting me here again. I come from the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy, and I always like to remind everyone before we start engaging or before I speak that OSTP really focuses on leveraging science and technology to help us meet our nation's greatest aspirations. We are trying to do that in, civil space and commercial space and national security space. And I'll be talking to you about some of that today. But we really focus on all areas of science and technology to do this. I'd like to focus on three key messages today. The first is that the anticipated conclusion of the International Space Station operations by 2030 is a significant and visible transition for US-led space cooperation. This is a very critical transition for us because it does involve moving a lot of ownership and operations to commercial partners. It means a lot of transition of a beacon of international success for us, and that is a key transition that we are looking forward to in the next 7 years. The second point I want to leave you with is that the U.S. leadership in promoting, in managing, in regulating an increasingly capable sector and key aspects of U.S. sustained domestic and international leadership in low Earth orbit is very important and one that we do not take lightly. I'll give you two recent examples of this. We have had two strategic competitors to the U.S. who have brought up critical issues that we are currently facing. The first competitor, after 5 years of very little communications, is now working with us on human safety protocols and issues, which is a very welcome change. And we see that activity moving on for the benefit of not just US astronauts or astronauts of our allies, but also commercial astronauts writ large. The second is that there have been talks that US commercial entities should only be used for, say, peaceful endeavors or in low Earth orbit. And to that, while we support, obviously, the use of space, particularly by US commercial companies, in a peaceful manner, we do acknowledge and believe in our need for a stable, secure, safe, and actually long-term sustainability in space. And sometimes that means using some of our capabilities in the commercial domain for national security purposes. The third key thing I'd like to say is that, in anticipation of the shift from a largely government entity to a largely commercial operator for not just different kinds of research and access and processes, but since the main source of funding and resources and the main microgravity laboratory may no longer come from the public sector in about 7 years, it is critical, and we do take this seriously in supporting the commercial sector and stepping up and meeting this opportunity. We, as of a few weeks ago, went down to 3 providers as opposed to 4 who are part of the NASA CLD program. And what we are hoping is that those three continue to help lead in the development of a system that will take over operations, and we will continue doing our part to ensure that norms of behavior in space and the protection of assets in space, including commercial assets, it's something we prioritize and we continue to foster. So when you step back to what Steve started with, I'd like to think that everyone in the space sector really is a combination of the aspirational and the block and tackle, because we have to be aspirational. It's space, after all. And at the same time, if we didn't get anything done, then we wouldn't have much of a message. And we have a lot to show for it, I think, on the government side and on the commercial side. So I leave you with a number of questions that we could use your help with, that we are looking to accomplish over the near term and actually the long term until we hit this goal of transitioning in 2030. How do we ensure that there's no gap between an ISS and a new commercial, LEO destination platform? What is the best way, or what are we missing when we think of leveraging space to retain the US's role as a global leader in research? Because we want to continue to go together with our commercial partners that we've done this together with over the last more than 20 years. How do we ensure prioritized access to LEO, and what does that priority look like? There's human health for long-duration space exploration. And I don't need to tell you that some of these questions are in our minds because of our budgetary conditions, right? If you look across the board, we've got, debt ceiling cuts. We've got a number of programs. We are focused on the Artemis program and returning to the moon. However, we understand the importance of leadership in LEO and not ceding it. What should determine our research basic and applied goals? Is it the National Academy's decadal? Is it some of the activities that commercial companies will be, these commercial LEO destination platforms will be offering? Is it something else? What kind of additional flight cadence and reliability should we focus on funding? And when you think about more opportunities to fly in order to iterate on science and technology capabilities, what does that look like? And what is our role in ensuring that these future commercial partners can meet those iterative goals? What kind of interoperable facilities might we have between platforms? Ideally, if you ask me, we would have more than one option when we get to 2031. But what kind of interoperability do they have? At least for not just even U.S. government use, but the U.S. government and its allies. And then when it comes to within the government, how do we come together on microgravity research or human health research and other research programs as a whole? I can tell you that about 3 weeks ago today, we did all meet in a workshop, not just NASA, but NIH and other parts of the government, the Department of Defense, Department of Commerce, Education, and NSF and others were present to discuss ways to just break down silos so that we can work together better. And also candidly figure out how we can we can use our sustainable budget lines for all of this interesting government research. that we need to perform over the next 7 years, and then moving on to the new platforms within the first 7 years of that. What does it look like for us to commit to bulk buys? And what does properly funding research to signal to companies that they have a guaranteed customer base look like for us? Recently, after assessing some data from the space economy, it looks like there is some argument that it might be shrinking. This space economy might be shrinking. Is it an oscillation or an aberration? We are unsure. I'm leaving that to the economists. However, it would be helpful for us to get ideas from you on what we should prioritize to properly fund, particularly when it comes to things like subsidizing crew and cargo transportation until prices go down. And NASA is working hard on a low Earth orbit national laboratory. What should this national laboratory do differently than the last one? And we've got a whole host of requirements and opportunities to partner with our international allies and also new partnerships from countries that have not really been engaged or are new spacefaring nations. All that said, this seamless transition from the ISS to a future platform is not just critically important for us for research efforts. It's not critically important just for space exploration, but really it is geopolitically very important. And we look forward to continue to bringing this ecosystem together, both within the U.S. government and coordinating as we can with the commercial LEO destination platform providers and others. There are others that are not part of the program that are making strides as well. So we think that if we continue to promote groundbreaking science in LEO, if we continue to demonstrate that we believe in democratizing international opportunities so that we remain in the mix, we remain a partner of choice for new spacefaring nations and others who have been part of this ecosystem for a while. We believe that if we continue to ensure that there are market opportunities, that there's market sustainability, that there's market innovation, then we will see a successful move, and we will continue to work with strategic competitors when they choose to meet us at the table in areas that we believe are important, human safety being one, but also areas that involve us protecting commercial companies and assets in space. So as we move beyond low Earth orbit to continue this leadership on the surface of the moon, exploration of the surface of the moon, our work in LEO will not stop. Our work in LEO will continue so that we continue to have the success that we have had as a community in low Earth orbit, and that the U.S. government continues to bring together our allies and bring together new spacefaring nations as we explore what the next generation of leveraging innovation looks like in low Earth orbit. Thank you.